little people didn't know about that the president just let us know that just might be able to save us hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars every year. I'm definitely going to try it once Monday comes around here, but we'll talk about that. So this is in the context of healthcare. So they've been trying 70 times to repeal Obamacare. So it's repeal and replace, repeal and replace, repeal and replace. And it was always, okay, what are you going to replace it with? And there's never been a plan. As I talked about in yesterday's video, we talked about yesterday's live Q&A. The plan is to essentially not have a plan, to just kind of throw people out in the water and let you all sink or swim on your own devices. That's been the plan. When you don't have a plan, the plan is to not have a plan. So we talked about that in detail yesterday, but we want to talk about the President Trump finally admitted one of the reasons why healthcare in this country is probably one of the worst. Well, healthcare is one of the best in the United States, one of the best in the world, healthcare. If you have the money to access that healthcare. We have some of the most advanced technology, some of the best hospitals. People from all over the world come to the United States for treatment and stuff. So we have one of the best, I would argue, one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 in terms of healthcare. The problem is accessing that healthcare. Our health insurance is the issue, the very fact that we have health insurance. So we have great healthcare, accessing that is the problem. So we don't need health insurance, we need healthcare. And the president admitted that. I'm going to show a video here in a little bit. He admitted that, yes, the issue in America is that we pay way, way, way too much to health insurance companies through Medicare Advantage, through Medicaid, through the Affordable Care Act, whatever the case may be. Health insurance companies make an incredible amount of money, and we don't necessarily get the healthcare access that we need. So let's watch this video. But the problem is he recognizes that health insurance is the issue. It's estimated that we spend about 500. This is a conservative estimate. $500 billion a year we spend in terms of health insurance, not health care. We pay health insurance companies $500 billion a year for their administrative fees, for their profits, for their shareholders to buy new yachts, and for them to deny our claims and all the rest of it. So the health insurance companies, we're paying them $500 billion a year. We could have very well spent that $500 billion a year on actual health care rather than paying these health insurance companies for their profits. And he recognizes this. But then he kind of does a 180. And yeah, so let's watch this, and we'll also uncover the hack that he said we could use, that I didn't know we could use, that just might be able to save us hundreds of dollars every year. So let's let him explain it.
Of healthcare in any country, it's a disaster, and I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own health care, which will be far better and far less expensive than the disaster known as Obamacare. And I've had, I think, great support. I've even had Democrat support. So we want the money that would be going to the insurance company, which is hundreds of billions of dollars. Their stock prices have gone up by 1,000% in many cases.
Exactly. That's what a lot of us been saying for the longest time. We don't want our money going to health insurance companies. We want it actually going to healthcare. They're making just, crazy amounts of money, these health insurance companies, and denying us and delaying care and all the rest of it. So we need to get health insurance companies out of the picture. Most industrialized countries don't have the system we have, where they pay hundreds of billions of dollars to health insurance companies. They use those hundreds of billions of dollars to actually provide health care rather than give it to health insurance companies. But then
1,000% over a short period of time, because our country stupidly pays them so much money with this Obamacare scandal. So I want the money to go directly to you, the people. And you go out and you'll buy your own health insurance, and you'll negotiate different.
I thought we just got the health insurance, so we spend $500 billion of health insurance. We're going to give that $500 billion, or I think with the estimate is we spend about $5 trillion per year on healthcare in the United States. So we're going to give 100, 200 million, I think he's talking about, that the part that the government gives out to people, going to give that to people so they go buy health insurance, but they're going to be able to negotiate. So this is the hack. I didn't know. I think most of us didn't know you could do this, but I think we should try it.
Plans, and you get much better insurance, and you will be an entrepreneur for yourself. So I'm always willing to work with anyone, including the other party. We'll work on something having to do with healthcare. We can do a lot better. We can do great. So much money is involved, and we're willing to pay so much money to the people. So we're going to pay a lot of money to the people. They're going to go out and buy their own healthcare.
Okay, so everybody's going to be able to go out and negotiate. The government's going to give people money, and you're going to go to the insurance companies and negotiate individually with those multi-billion-dollar insurance companies. So didn't know you could do that. So I thought they had published rates and you had to pay that, take it or leave it type situation. But I guess, according to the president, we can, as individuals, negotiate with billion-dollar companies. So first thing Monday, if y'all are with me, let's do one of those social experiments like that one lady that called the churches to see if they can get baby formula. Let's call these billion-dollar corporations. So call your electric company and see if you can negotiate your monthly bill down. Call your car insurance company and see if you can negotiate your car insurance down. Call your cable company and see if you can negotiate your cable bill down. And let's say hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and then we can go out, I guess, and then negotiate with the health insurance company. Yeah, so I think it's hopefully my regular viewers notice the irony here. And the fact that the Obamacare, there is nobody in America that has Obamacare insurance. There's no such thing as Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act insurance, marketplace insurance. Obamacare, as we talked about yesterday, is the Affordable Care Act is just a set of laws that were passed. You still have to go to health insurance companies and pick through the marketplace. So that's all it is. It's just a website to where you can go in there and pick your health insurance from whatever companies provide health insurance in your particular area. That's what marketplace, that the Obamacare is. It's just a website. And then it regulates what these companies can do. They can't deny you for pre-existing conditions. They can't deny you once you get sick. They can't, no lifetime caps and all the rest of it. So is it the best system? No. The best system is to get health insurance companies out there, completely out there. We talked about yesterday the fact that on the Affordable Care Act, these companies have to spend 80 to 85% of the money they receive in premiums on actual health care. Before the Affordable Care Act, it was about 50%. So the other 50% was going to executive bonuses and new yachts and buildings and, offices and all the rest of it. With Medicare, it's estimated at probably about 2% overhead for original Medicare. We're talking Part A, Part B. So if you have original Medicare Part A and Part B, and then like a Medicare supplement or something like that, the charges for that, about 2% overhead. When you're throwing in a private for-profit institution into it, 15, 20%. If it goes back, the laws change and the Affordable Care Act is repealed and nothing is there to replace it, then we're just might go back to the fact that these companies are going to take 50%. So, so again, there is essentially no plan, and the plan is to not have a plan. Every day there's no plan. That means their plan is to not have a plan. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get into the live Q&A. If you're new to my channel, this is what we do. We talk about the topic of the day. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes it might not be your cup of tea. But then we answer questions for the rest of the period, for the rest of the hour, rest of the period. I'm also a university professor. So, anyway, threw that in there. So we answer all kinds of questions on Social Security, retirement, survivor benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, and all the rest of it. All right, let's see what we got here. Sonia, the Thank you, Dr. O. Your rep, Melissa, is such a doll. She helped me find wonderful health plans for the coming year, which I truly appreciate. You and your team has truly. Yeah, that's Chapter Medicare who sponsors. And you said, Ed, you just said, health insurance is terrible. Yes, it should come. Sorry, people at Chapter that help people with Medicare. I don't think y'all should exist. I'm sorry. But right now, they're the best place you can go if you're looking for a Medicare plan. Health insurance should be completely out. It should just, anyway, Medicare for all. So anyway, people say, you don't want the government to take over the VA. I'm an old Marine Corps veteran. I don't use the VA, but I know a lot of people that use the VA and they're very, very happy with it. Could be better? Absolutely. Definitely could be better. So let's see what other questions we got here. I've also got some video questions. Let's go ahead and get into a couple of video questions here real quick, and then we'll get to the live questions.
Hi, my name is Catherine, and I received a letter with the amounts of money that I had been making per year, and I actually have not been getting the amounts that they've stated. How do I go and get the higher amount that they're stating? Because they're stating that they have given me for 2025 $1,400 plus dollars, and actually my deposits are only 1,100. How do I take care of that?
Okay, when you receive a letter from Social Security and it says, okay, we gave you $1,400 or $1,000 or whatever the case may be, and your actual deposit is less, then 99.9% of the times it's because you've got some type of money coming out after. So they sent you a check for $1,400, but you have possibly Medicare Part B being takeout. It's $185. They just announced Part B for next year. I'm going to do a video tomorrow going into all the costs for 2026 on Medicare Part B, but for across the board, Part A, Part B, deductibles, co-insurance, and all the rest of it. I'll do a video on that tomorrow, going through all the details. But for Part B for next year, it's going to be $202.90. So it sounds like, yes, they did send you a check. This is usually how it happens. They sent you a check for $1,400, but there's deductions, either Part B, or maybe you are doing the voluntary tax withholding, and you're taking out 5, 7, 10% of your Social Security benefit to pay for taxes or whatever the case may be. And then there's, doesn't sound, probably not in your particular situation, but there are people with child support or alimony or something like that. So this is how much they sent, but you've got other deductions. So that's probably the case. So I would definitely reach out to them and say, hey, what's the deal here? Why am I getting less? That's 99.9% of the case is that's exactly why. When is the $2,000 coming? Yeah, I don't think it'll come. It's the tariff dividend, and it's estimated, I did a video on this a few days ago. The conservative estimates is that if given $2,000 to pretty much everybody, it's going to cost $600 billion. And there's only about 80 or 90 billion that have come in through tariffs. Not trillions of dollars, but only about under $100 billion have come in through tariffs. And where'd that money come in from? It came in from us. They just admitted, the Treasury Secretary just went on TV and admitted that, yes, we are the ones that pay the tariff money. And yes, it does cause inflation. So all those months they were saying, no, we're not the people that pay tariffs, and tariffs don't cause inflation. He just went on TV. I'll show that clip tomorrow. And he just went on and says, yeah, we're going to cut tariffs, and that's going to reduce prices for bananas and coffee and stuff like that. And it's like, wait a second, you said it doesn't. Yeah, so the 2,000, I give it about, 1% chance of happening. So it sounds like BS. What about pre-existing conditions for seniors who are disabled and aged? So for seniors, there is no animal as pre-existing conditions for Medicare Part A and Part B. So for Medicare, doesn't matter. I mean, that's like one of the, in my estimation, that's one of the stupidest words, phrases in the English language. Pre-existing conditions. Yeah, you're human. We all have pre-existing conditions to some extent or another. and to prevent us from getting health care, health insurance, whatever the case may be, because of pre-existing conditions makes no sense whatsoever. Pretty much no other country in the world does it, but for some reason we do it. Another reason our system needs fixing. But for Medicare Part A and Part B, no such animal. If you have whatever pre-existing condition, whatever illness, disability, disease, whatever the case may be, and you turn 65 years old, yeah, there is no check on that when you sign up for Part A, Part B. If you get a Medicare Advantage plan, same thing. No such thing as pre-existing conditions, because the government said, hey, they regulated Medicare Advantage plan to say you cannot discriminate on people that are sick. The only ones that can, so under Affordable Care Act, they can't discriminate. They cannot discriminate. The only ones that really can are these short-term plans you see out there, which be very, very careful on those. I see a lot of people on social media saying, okay, the Affordable Care Act is too expensive now. There's these short-term plans that pretty much cover nothing, and you take your life in your own hands, but hey, give us some money, watch out for those. But the only other one that can ask about pre-existing conditions are these Medicare supplement plans that you add with Medicare Part A, Part B. Those are the ones I kind of always recommend people checking out first. When you're 65, they can't ask you about pre-existing conditions. If you want to sign up for a Medicare supplement later after your initial enrollment period, then they can deny you for pre-existing conditions. It depends what state. Different states, they can't do that. So it really depends on your particular state. Yeah, if you're disabled or a senior 65, Medicare cannot deny you for pre-existing conditions. The only one that can is the Medicare supplement one. So I agree, no plan. Just throw anything out and see what sticks. Yeah, not having a plan is a conscious decision after 15 years of saying repeal the Affordable Care Act and replace it, repeal and replace. Okay, we've seen the attempt to repeal it 70 times. Remember John McCain? That was, the closest attempt to repeal it, get rid of it. And okay, you tried 70 times to repeal it. Where are the 70 plan? Where's the one plan? There's never been a comprehensive plan. The plan is no plan. So do you have to pay FDIC taxes on your Social Security payments? So yeah, FDIC, that's a Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. That's something that, insurance that, pays if the bank goes bankrupt. So do you have to pay taxes on your Social Security payments? It really depends on how much you earn. About 40 or 50% of people that are receiving Social Security benefits don't pay taxes on Social Security. And this has been like that for a long time. The president said he passed under the One Big Beautiful Bill, no taxes on Social Security. That is 100% incorrect. That did not pass in the One Big Beautiful Bill. He keeps saying that it included no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security. The last part is 100% incorrect. A lot of people are going to get jammed up with the IRS when they say, well, and they don't pay taxes on it. But about 40 or 50% of people don't even pay taxes on Social Security. If that's pretty much all the income you have and your income is that low, then you probably don't pay taxes on Social Security. But if your income is higher, then you do. If you go onto my website, let's see here. If you go into my website, mygovexpert.com, and you go into, click on the top there. Let me show you the top there. You click on the top and you click on retirement. And then you click on taxation of benefits. And then you click on this right here. This takes you to the IRS website. And you can just answer a few questions there, and it will tell you if you have to pay taxes on your Social Security benefits. So there's that. Let's see. Let's hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it. Yes, please. Thank you. This gets the info. Oh, speaking of community, another success story. I don't know if you read in the comments that somebody else left in the comment. I think it was yesterday's YouTube video that they found out they were eligible for spouse benefits, and they went and filed for spouse benefits, and now they're getting more money. So another success story for you guys. Again, you guys and gals out there that press like and subscribe and share and all that kind of stuff, and y'all are the ones that do it. I just sit here and give the information, but it doesn't help anybody if, you don't get it out there. Jerry, thank you for connecting me to Chapter. They were awesome, but unfortunately unable to help me because I have an SSDI and SUP. Over 65, it seems they were stuck, sadly. Yeah, so you have a Social Security and a supplement. So this, with the supplement plan, if so you have disability and you're over 65 or under 65. That I think that's over 65, a little thing there. But yeah, if you have an Social Security disability insurance and you have Medicare because of your disability, so let's say you're 50 years old, under 65, and you have Medicare because of your disability, you've been on disability for 24 months, then in most states, you cannot get a Medicare supplement plan because the states don't make those companies provide it to people under 65. But when you turn 65, then you're under the regular rules and they can not deny you. Or if you're over 65, then it's hard to switch. So a lot of people, when they're eligible for Medicare because of disability benefits, they get a Medicare Advantage plan. And when they turn 65, then they reevaluate whether a Medicare supplement plan is best for them. So nobody can tell you what is best for you until they ask you a bunch of questions. And speaking of, someone asked me about that. I think let's watch this video here.
Yes, Dr. Ed. My name is Gypsy Diamond, and
Love
I
that
am
name.
from Michigan. I'm from Michigan, and I have a question. There was a video that I saw from Donald Trump where he was saying or asking us that we had to have or make up our own we had to have our own Social Security accounts up and running by November 19th, or persons on SSI or SSI DI, we were gonna lose our income, but we had to have our Social Security accounts up by the 19th. Okay.
Okay. This is a different video than the one I wanted to show about it. Anyway, but this is important. Yeah, a lot of social media people out there and do all these. I do it every now and then, but it's usually for a good reason. But there's a lot of social media people out there for the clicks. They scare people. Oh, you have to have do this by November 19th, or you're not going to get your Social Security benefit, or whatever the case may be. No, there is no November 19th. I know the administration, Social Security Administration, was talking about, hey, was at the end of September, if you got a paper check, you had to set up a bank account because no more paper checks. But then they walked that back. And then the whole night, November 13th, they kind of walked back as well. It's basically, they're talking about setting up a My Social Security account. So they really recommend you sign up for a My Social Security account. I do as well, because it's safer for you. If you go ahead and set up a My Social Security account, it makes it 100 times more difficult for someone else to pretend to be you and set one up. So it's always good. And it's also, you get letters quicker. So if Social Security sends you a letter about an overpayment or a COLA increase or whatever the case may be, you can go into your Social Security account and see it there. So, but they're not going to stop your benefits or anything like that. So don't worry about that. That's not an issue. All right, Sandra, what do you do when your earnings record is wrong, but you have paperwork to show your work history? Okay, good question. So, and this is another reason why you should set up a Social Security account, is to go in there and check your earnings record. Because if your earnings record is wrong, then your monthly benefit is going to be wrong. And your spouse's monthly benefit, or your divorced spouse, maybe you want that, but anyway, or your surviving spouse, it's all going to be wrong if your earnings record is not correct. So how do you make sure it's correct? You go in there, ssa.gov, set up a My Social Security account, and check your earnings record. And if you see, like Sandra there, that something is wrong, Then, okay, so there's different ways to do this. Let's say, Sandra, you worked in 1982, but it's a gap year. That means it's so zero for 1982. But let's say you worked the same place in 1981 and 1983. So you work for the same place for 3 or 4 or 5 years, but that 1 year is missing. 99% of the time, it's because somewhere along the line, somebody typed in the wrong social security number, transposed the last 2 numbers or whatever the case may be, and your earnings are out there in the suspense file, they call it. And you just need to say, yes, I worked in 1982. I worked for the same company I did in 1981 and 1983. So the Social Security employee will go in there and look at the EIN, the employer identification number, and look in the suspense file for that that employer. And it'll say, oh, here, Sandra Marshall. Oh, okay, looks like someone typed your Social Security number wrong. They grab those earnings and then stick them in there and recalculate your benefits. So if you've been receiving benefits for 10 years, and they correct your benefit amount, you'll get that difference for the last 10 years because you've corrected it. If it's not in the suspense file and it's not within the last 2 or 3 years, then it's a little bit more difficult. You have to take down your taxes and prove that you paid and all the rest of it. It takes a little bit more work. And there's also kind of a statute of limitations where it's strange, 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. But there's so many exceptions, the exceptions on correcting that. So, yeah, so if you have paperwork, documentation, or whatever the case may be, go down to Social Security and get it fixed. Absolutely. So,
Hi, Ed. This is Nancy again. I should have told you I am from South Carolina. And I was wondering about the devoted plan choice give back, PPO. I also signed up for Humana, but there is another Humana choice PP.
okay, so she's asking me about, okay, I'm in this state and these are the ones available. How good are they? Nobody can tell you until they talk to you personally, because, whatever plan in your particular area, we get all this all the time. It says, well, my brother on the other side of the country has XYZ super gold plan and he loves it. So I guess it's good here. Well, it might be good in his particular area, but in your area, I think the technical term is it might suck. It might be terrible. It's just because all the plans, even if the plans are the same name, they are different based on the particular area. And it's sometimes by the zip. So you're like living on one side of the street and you have this XYZ super gold plan and your neighbor on the other side of the street has the same plan. They could be completely different because the zip code is different there. So that's how different they are. And don't know who your doctors are. Anytime you look for a Medicare Advantage plan, you have to evaluate the whole thing with what I call the 7 Ps. If you're going to be reevaluating your 2026 plan for next year, and this is how we hold the insurance companies accountable, is they don't want you to review your Medicare Advantage plan every year because they just want you to, throw the dice and roll with what you got, and they change all the stuff under the hood. But we're smarter than that, and we check to make sure it's still the best plan for next year, and nothing has changed in the fine print. So how you do that is you call whoever you know and trust, call chapter, whoever, and you say, hey, here's my plan for this year. What's available in my area for next year? And they will ask you a bunch of questions. Okay, what providers? What doctor do you definitely want to keep? What specialist do you definitely want to keep? What's your prescriptions? You want to make sure those are covered and they're cheap. Do you have a particular pharmacy that you want to support and use? Do you have priorities? Do you need more dental, vision, prices? Yeah, there's zero premium. Okay, that's fine. But how much do you think about going to the hospital next year? So do you care about that? Or are you going to get some MRIs next year or a CT? Let's see what the prices are on that. And the most important thing is persistence, because in the future, all of the bureaucracy, including Medicare Advantage bureaucracy, it's tougher for the consumer. We're pretty much thrown into the deep end and let, as President Trump said, you just negotiate yourself. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But in this case, you have to fight for yourself. If you're denied Social Security, disability, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, Medicaid, food stamps, Medicare Advantage, prior authorization, then fight. And that's one of the things that chapter helps you fight: prior authorizations and increase prices in terms of prescription drugs and tiering with a particular company. So we have to get used to fighting back. So this is what we do here. Time travel. Are Medicare premiums like car insurance? Whenever you use it, premiums will go up next year on your birthday. No. So Medicare, we're talking about Medicare supplement plans. No. Will they go up? Possibly on your birthday. It depends how you buy them. When you get Medicare supplement plans, there's like 3 different systems, the initial price, the community pricing, and so there's different ways you can buy a Medicare supplement plan. And so the Medicare supplement plans, yes, they go up a little bit every year. But they don't go up because you used them. Yeah. Totally agree with Dr. Ed. Oh, okay, good. Not sure what you're agreeing with, but I appreciate it. Who is that grumpy old man going on like that? Yeah, I'm grumpy. We need to. We've got so much money in this system, and politicians, across the board, are just not doing what we want them to do. So yeah, I'm grumpy. Yeah. With all the programs the government is canceling, they should put the money into Social Security for everyone to afford Part B. And how about a raise for everyone who draws Social Security? I agree, 100%. Yeah, they should raise the FICA cap. They should protect Social Security. In my estimation, I think we should have Medicare for all. Get the insurance companies out of there. The overhead is so much smaller. If people that have a Medicare, have original Medicare or the Medicare supplement plan, they love it. There's a monthly premium for that, but they love it. They don't have to deal with networks and prior authorizations. If they go to the doctor and the doctor says, okay, you need this test and it's medically necessary, you get it, period, end of story. There is no second guessing by Medicare insurance companies. That's it. You're done. No prior authorization, no networks. You go to any doctor in the country that takes Medicare. And you're just like, Ed, what do you mean by medically necessary? Well, if I go to the doctor and he says, come on, man, hook me up here. They say, sorry, that's not, your male pattern baldness is not medically necessary. So, but if I get into an accident, that's medically necessary, easy. So, but if you have a Medicare Advantage, you're essentially getting privatized Medicare. And then you get networks and prior authorizations and nickels and dimes and all the rest of it. But unfortunately, over 50% of people, their budget doesn't allow them to get a Medicare supplement plan, so they get a Medicare Advantage plan. Some people love it. I mean, they're treated very, very well in their Medicare Advantage plan. I think it's going forward. They get to be more fighting with those companies if something happens, but that's what we're here for, and that's what Chapter is here for. I don't think health care negotiation is totally impossible. Under the right conditions, maybe. People negotiate with the cable company all the time. Of course, it's not a necessary utility. Negotiate with a cable company. Yeah, I'm not really big on ESPN until the Dodgers came, and so previous years, I'm like, yeah, ESPN is what, 20 or 30% of the. I'm like, can I get rid of that? So. Yeah, if you have a trick negotiating with, when you go to the gas pump trying to negotiate the prices of the gas pump, please let us know. Hello, community. I hope you're doing better. Yes. Let's see. Bitcoin. Yes, we're not getting into Bitcoin here. Got some trolls every now and then show up and start talking about Bitcoin. Let's see what other video question we have.
Hello, Dr. Ed. I watched your video, and from what I'm gathering, my wife has the ability to collect extra benefit on top of what she is already receiving. Your spouse's full benefit amount is $3,000. If she collects less than half of what my full retirement benefit would have been, then from what I gather from your presentation, she can collect additional benefits, including the amount that she is receiving now.
That is correct. But be careful. Somebody said FICA. Yeah, that's what I figured what you meant. But no, you don't have to pay FICA because that's Social Security. So you don't pay FICA on your Social Security. Paid on everything else. But anyway, so to answer this young man's question, yes, but your wife is receiving less than half of yours. So here's a mistake a lot of people make, and they lose money because of it. Okay, so this is kind of, so if you have a high earning spouse that's receiving $3,000, okay, and then half of that is $1,500, and let's say you're receiving the other spouse is receiving $1,000, so but they're entitled to $1,500. So what happens is they get that extra $500. So the higher earning spouse gets $3,000, the lower earning spouse gets $1,500. So $1,000 from their own record and another $500 from your record. That's if they are their full retirement age. Okay. Here's the problem. If you're reduced, if the other spouse, the lower earning spouse is reduced, let's say their full benefit amount is $1,000, but they're only getting $800 because they started their benefits early, then they're still going to get $800, and they're only eligible for benefits above what's called their PIA, their primary insurance amount. So they'll get that $500 because they filed at their full retirement age for spouse benefits. But because they filed for benefits on their own record early, it's reduced. So they'll get $1,300 in that particular case. So I know it's confusing, but anyway, that's how the math is done. So in your particular case, you're saying your wife is getting less, but that might be the MBA, which is called the monthly benefit amount, and not the PIA, which is the primary insurance amount. The primary insurance amount is the amount at full retirement age. That's the number you need to go through. A lot of people are not getting the benefits they're eligible for because they're looking at the wrong numbers. They're looking at, they're sitting there in the living room and says, how much is your check? Oh, my check is this much. How much is your check? Oh, it's that much. Well, it's not less than half. So therefore, I guess, according to Ed, you're not eligible for more benefits on my record. No, don't look at your check amount. You have to look at the PIA, the primary insurance amount, which is the amount you would have received at full retirement age. So if you don't know that, you can go into go into SSA.gov, go into My Social Security and see, it'll have the number there generally. It won't say PIA. It'll say, if you waited till your full retirement age, it'll say that much. But if you don't know, you just call Social Security, call the 800 number and say, hey, how much is this guy's PIA? How much is this gal's PIA? And can one of us get benefits on the other record? And if the calculation works, they will schedule an appointment and get you there that money. So don't look at the check amount because that's not what Social Security looks at. So let's see. They raised the FDIC up to $250,000. Okay. We do pay tax. We buy clothes. We buy food. We pay for other things. Yeah, that's a common misunderstanding. People say that, 50% of those people don't pay taxes. No, that's everybody pays taxes. Everybody. They might not pay income taxes because, they're barely making enough to, go from month to month, but they pay real estate taxes, even if they're renting. So they pay their rent, and obviously their landlord includes the real estate tax for that apartment in the rent. They're paying sales tax, they're paying gas tax, and so everybody pays taxes, unless you're, out a mountain man living out in the mountains somewhere, and you're not part of the economy, or David Thoreau and Henry David Thoreau in sucking out of all the marrow of life in Walden Pond or something. So I get survival benefits, but even him, he used to go down to Ralph Waldo Emerson's house all the time, and as soon as the bell was ringing, he'd head down there. So it wasn't really living out in the woods too much. Anyway, that's a whole different story. I get survival benefits from my dad since he passed away many years ago. And I wonder, can I apply on my mom's survivor benefits? She passed away in 2021. I'm disabled too. Absolutely. If you have, so you're getting what's called DAC benefits, disabled adult child benefits. That means you became disabled before the age of 22. So you, when you filed, your father was passed away at that time, so you filed on your father's record, or maybe he's receiving retirement benefits and you started receiving benefits 50%, and then when he passed, your benefits were increased to 75% because it's a survivor child. But since then, your mother has passed away. So it depends on the amount, on the PIA, primary insurance amount. Again, everything is based on the PIA. How much you'd receive at full retirement age. So if her PIA is more than his, then yes. So I would call, so if she worked, more than him over 35 years, over her lifetime, then her PIA probably will be more. And so you can switch to hers. Absolutely. But if it's not more than his, no, there's no use in switching. So. Taxes on Social Security, I have to pay because my income and my husband's job combined put us over. Yeah. So some people have to pay taxes on Social Security, and the president said you will not pay taxes on Social Security. And if you believe that, the IRS is going to want to talk to you. So I've been trying to cancel my subscription to the IRS for decades, and yeah, it doesn't work. Let's see here. Don't hold your breath. And Dr. Weir is right. It's not coming. A broken promise or a broken dream. Yeah, he floated this earlier in the year, talked about a tariff rebate or dividend. And so it's basically here, we're going to tax you all this money for all the stuff you buy on a daily basis. And then we might give you a few percent back later. And now the Treasury Secretary is just going back there. Oh, actually, we kind of gave it to you already. And so, yeah, So anyway. Cheryl, I don't think we've seen Cheryl here before. Welcome, welcome. I think a clarification is needed. Okay, when you initially enroll in Medicare and choose a supplement plan, I recommend, so do I. Yes, regardless of supplement plan you choose, you're automatically accepted. Yep, exactly. So when you're 65 years old and you choose and you sign up for Medicare Part A, Part B, then yes, 100% no health underwriting at all. If you don't sign up for let's say B when you're 65 because you have health insurance from work, and then a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later, you sign up for B because you've lost your health insurance from creditable coverage, then you're new to Part B, and that kind of restarts that automatic acceptance as well. So, yep, 100%. And there's some other weird things. One of the things that about 1 million people can take advantage of right now is those people who were canceled from their Medicare Advantage plan. It's predominantly PPO plans. The health insurance companies want more money. I guess they're embarrassed. Last time the CEOs went to the French Riviera and they only had a 300-foot yacht. So I guess they were embarrassed. So they need to get that 500-foot yacht. So next year they're focusing on making as much profit from people as possible. And so they're canceling a lot of those PPOs, those are the PPOs, there's HMOs and there's PPOs. HMO, Health Maintenance Organization. PPO is Preferred Provider Organization. So PPOs, you can use, more clinics and doctors and stuff. But companies make less money with PPOs. They make more money with HMOs. So they've canceled probably about 1 million of those, million people. And those people, when they get their cancellation notice, so I know there's going to be people in January that didn't know about this, and then January they're going to go to the doctor, and the doctor is going to say, yeah, your plan was canceled. You didn't switch to something else. You didn't check yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of people, unfortunately, out of those 1 million people that don't realize that their plan was canceled, But once you get that letter, it has on the bottom of it, we don't want you anymore. We canceled your plan. And because we canceled, then you get a guaranteed issue where you can get either a Medicare Supplement Plan G or the old Plan F if you've been on Medicare Part B since January 1st, 2020. So yeah, at those times, Cheryl is 100% correct. If you're in one of those special situations like that, there is no health underwriting. They cannot deny you. So American Redneck, working all these years and still got to pay for Medicare. Why? Yeah. So I agree. Medicare is financed by all those decades you paid into FICA. FICA includes Social Security tax and the Medicare tax. It also is financed by that $185, and it also is financed by regular taxation. So we pay for it, and so why do we have to pay $185 and all the rest of it? I mean, we eventually, we pay for it. There's nothing free. We pay for it, but yeah. So failing to plan is a plan for failure. Yes. Stuart, my wife finally got her spousal benefit application approved, and she just received 4 months back pay. She is very happy. Okay, good deal. All right, Stuart. So hopefully you learned about that through our awesome community, and now you're going to share and subscribe and share it on whatever out there. So we appreciate it. A lot of people out there are suffering. A lot of people out there are struggling. So we need to help as many people as we possibly can. Let's see if I can find, first time here. Thank you for letting us know. Angel, what's up, Angel? I do watch you. I'm 60 with injuries on SSI with Medicaid, going through divorce. He's 72, retired. What else can I do? Thank you. All right. So if you're 60, when you're on SSI, so for new people, SSI is supplemental security income. It's the welfare-based program Social Security administers for those people that are disabled or 65 or older. And you can only get it if you're low income, low resources. So you're receiving SSI because of a disability, and because you're on SSI, you're what's called categorically eligible for Medicaid. So you're also eligible for Medicaid. In terms of your divorced spouse, there's nothing there for you now because, number one, he is still alive and kicking. If you had an ex-spouse that you were married to for 10 years, or you were married when they passed away and they are passed away, then you are potentially eligible for survivor benefits at 60 years old. But regular benefits, that is, well, not regular, but divorced spouse benefits where the ex-spouse is still alive and kicking, then that doesn't start till 62. So right now, unfortunately, there's nothing from him until you're 62 years old. And remember, because you're on SSI, you have to file for those benefits. When you're on SSI and you're eligible for any other benefits, you have to file for those benefits. So in your particular case, you have to make sure, or you have to wait 2 years unless something happens to him in the interim. So let's see, Gianni, I'm collecting Social Security at 70, but still work at fairly high income for me. How often does Social Security adjust? Every single year, depending on how much you made the previous year. So how Social Security works is if you're 70, 75, 85, 105, whatever the case may be, and you're collecting your Social Security benefits, doesn't matter. If you work and that particular year is one of your high 35 years, then Social Security automatically readjusts your benefit, recalculates your benefits, and increases your benefit amount. It takes a while. We've had people here over the last few weeks that had said, I just got an increase. And I'm like, okay, well, did you work last year? Work quite a bit last year? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's it. It took, because it has to go through the system. You have to file your taxes, or your employer notifies Social Security, and then Social Security looks at it's a high 35 years, it recalculates and adjusts and yada, yada, yada. So sometimes it doesn't happen till July, August, September, October. It takes a while, but they give you that back pay. So if they don't get around to it until, let's say, November, and they say, you worked a whole bunch last year, so that increases your benefit amount by $10. They give you the $10 going forward, and then also give you $10 for the last 10 months. So they give you $100 extra because, it took them a while to calculate it, but it was effective January. That's 100% automatic. So 350 million is a drop in the bucket, 40 billion for Argentina. Yeah, seems like, we couldn't find money to feed our own people that are struggling out there. Remember the old thing, and these politicians, we need to stop taking care of these people overseas and take care of our people. Okay, they did that. They cut off USAID. There's estimates that hundreds of thousands of people have perished overseas because of the lack of help from the United States. which is a tragedy in itself. I thought we were part of an international community. But anyway, those politicians say, yeah, we need to stop taking care of people overseas and take care of our old people. Okay, all right, okay. So you did, and then you didn't. Cut off aid overseas, and you still didn't take care of people. So yeah, a lot of, painted themselves in a corner on a lot of this stuff. Being on SSI and claiming my ex-husband at 62, would that be an increase? It depends on your ex-husband, how much that person worked. But because you're on SSI, you have to file for those benefits. And let's say it's over, let's say his full benefit amount is $3,000. So let's say your benefit amount, because you're going to be 62 filing early, let's say it's $1,000. Because SSI, the max on SSI is $967. Next year, it's going to be $994. But if you get more than that from some other source, they just might cut off your SSI. But if you have Medicaid through the state, sometimes they continue that, even if you're not receiving SSI, because you've just gone over a little bit. But it really depends on the particular state, and a lot of states are, because the $1 trillion has been cut from the budget. That's a lot of states are going to start kicking people off left and right, even if they're eligible. So I do not write English sometimes. That's all right. Music, we sometimes I do not speak it to English sometimes very well, be that is so. Angel, thank you for the information. May the Messiah you and your family keep up the good work. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, I think we've got a great review here of chapter.
This really has nothing to do with your Q&A. I just wanted to let you know that I just got off the phone with a gentleman by the name of Derek Muntz, who was a part of your chapter team. And it was the best and most comforting, for lack of a better term, experience that I've had ever. And I haven't had a lot, but experience with making the right decision. I had so much anxiety last year. I changed the plan 6 or 7 times once because it just didn't set right. This didn't. He took the time. He listened to me. He explained everything clearly. And I just wanted you to know that the people on your helpline are the bomb.
All right.
Thanks, and have a blessed day. And I'm really glad that a friend of mine turned me on to you because I learned so much. Thank you for you too.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me do that. Yeah, my son and I, we didn't want to get into that whole thing. We just wanted to help people with Social Security and Medicaid. And, we didn't want to get into the private insurance thing, but so many people were getting wrong information and being, not given the full, information for their particular situation. So we looked throughout the country and, we settled on chapter, and they're doing a phenomenal job. But because they're doing such a phenomenal job and they've got such an awesome reputation, that they're having a hard time keeping up. But you have until December 7th. If you called them several times and not able to get through, email me at ed@mygovexpert.com, and I'll reach out to them and I'll make sure they contact you. Yeah, they're having a hard time keeping up. But we have until December 7th. But as I always say, but yes, on the other side of the video, I wish chapter didn't exist. It didn't have to exist. I know the team over there, they're super smart. They would find something else to do with their life. But they're doing a phenomenal job with what we have. It's was the old Winston Churchill thing. It says, democracy is the worst system in the world, except for all the others, right? All right. So right now we have to make the best of it. And remember, they helped you find a plan, but that is a very, very small part of everything. So they probably took you, they went through all the plans, took you 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour, whatever the case may be, to go over all your prescriptions and your doctors and look at all the plans and talk to you and explain this, that, and the other. That's awesome. we appreciate them doing for that, but the number one reason we pick them is because they have awesome after service. So next year, if you have whatever plan, particularly a Medicare Advantage plan, and they give you a hard time with a prior authorization or you need to find another doctor or something, that's where Medicare or chapter really shines, is you reach out to them and say, hey, I just got this weird bill and I don't understand it. Why am I being charged this? I just lost my primary care physician. Can you find me another one? And they do all that. And so that's where that persistence comes in. You really have to stay up on Medicare Advantage. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, you don't have those issues. Doctor says you need it, done, end of story. So original Medicare, but a Medicare Advantage plan, there's just more of a battle that you have to do. So Cheryl, first time here, I think. I don't think we recognize you. Welcome to the most awesome community on social media. I'm on Social Security disability insurance and looking at switching from my husband's employer insurance to traditional Medicare. It's so confusing. Okay, yes. Some people do that. So if you signed up for, Part A because you have SSDI. If you've been on SSDI for 24 months, then you're automatically eligible for, Medicare Part A and Part B. You got Part A. That's pretty much automatic. You probably refused Part B because you had health insurance from your husband's current work, and that employer has 20 more employees. So you did the smart thing there, $185, save the $185 since you already have on your husband's. But now you want to check whether adding Part B and let's say maybe a Medicare supplement if you're able to. In most states, you're not going to be able to if you're under 65. So probably adding Part B and then a Medicare Advantage plan. So those are kind of your options. It depends what state you're on, what state you live in. If you're in New York or some other place, usually on the New England area, you're able to get a Medicare supplement plan under the age of 65. So you can reach out to chapter there and at least compare and says, okay, here's the plan with my husband's work. It costs this much. The deductibles are this much. What are my options? And they'll check out all the options. And if there's something you like, then you do it to it. But you'll have to sign up for Part B first if you didn't. But I wouldn't do that until you find out whether there's a plan out there that you like. So I wouldn't sign up for Part B until you find out, whether, there's something out there that's better. So, and then a follow-up, my plan has gotten too expensive. Okay, I'm in Louisiana, and it does look like some companies offer Plan G. Yeah, but in Louisiana, you have to go through health underwriting. And if you're on disability, then, probably not so much. So, but there's exceptions. So I'm not sure your entire situation there, but generally, if you have Medicare because of you're on disability, that means you're under 65 years old, or if you're 65, 66 and on disability, then if you're close to 65, then that's an option. So I would definitely check. That is a very, very smart way to do it. And so if you get on to, let's say you're 64 years old and you can't get a Medicare supplement, but it's just too expensive. Your husband's is too expensive. What you can do is get a Medicare, go ahead and sign up for Part B, so you have Part A, Part B, sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan. And then when you turn 65, then you're in that golden window where you can get any Medicare supplement plan, Plan G, and there's no health underwriting at all. So you can switch. So recommend that when you turn 65. Let's see. Nelson, what's up, Nelson? This is the best place for the truth of what is happening and what to do to get things done. Show your care by hitting the thumbs up. Yes. And we have a whole bunch of different resources here that we help people out. And we have and you're not alone out there. A lot of people think they're alone, but you're not. I'm here pretty much every day doing this live Q&A, unless my wife tells me I have to take a day off or two. We have chapter helping you find the best plan and then also supporting you throughout the year. We're adding a team. We have 2 people now are retired Social Security employees. These are the only thing we do charge for because these are one-on-one appointments that can help you with retirement and answering questions about survivor benefits and disability and CDR and all that. And then we have the 24 Help community, which is a brand new website that we've come up with it's 24help.org, and it's just a forum for people to go in there and get help with retirement benefits, disability benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP. I'm going to do a video this week. The Secretary of Agriculture said that she is kicking around the idea, now that they've decided to give people food that need it, the 40 million people that need food, that they are going to do recertifications for everybody. That's just recertify everybody. So we need to talk about that. What, if you've gone through recertification in your particular state, let us know what happened, the things that people need to watch out for. We need to community source this and get people to help each other out, navigate this bureaucracy, because that's the trick they're using, is to make it so difficult to get these things by cutting staffing at offices throughout the country, Social Security office, Medicaid office, SNAP offices, and other places, cutting help. So you're just kind of left to your own devices. Yeah, dog eat dog type situation. But that's what we're here for. Rick, have a lovely weekend. I must tend to my beef stew, which costs about $50,000. Okay. You need to negotiate with your beef company and yeah, see if you can come down a little bit. So I have friends in Canada that love their medical. I wanted to. Yeah, a lot of countries, and people always say, oh, Canada have the long lines. Not if it's medically necessary. You know, doctors determine whether it's medically necessary. If it's medically necessary, you get it. If it's kind of a, you know, yeah. So is it perfect? No. Is there any country that has a health system that's perfect? No. But they're definitely a lot better than what we have. So, all right, we're over an hour. Think that's it for today. I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll talk, and tomorrow we're going to talk about the 2026 Medicare, what the premium is, what the deductibles are, all the new numbers for Medicare for 2026. And so I'll talk about that for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll get into all your questions. So if you have any friends or family that have questions, make sure you bring them to us, and we record a video, and I will answer those. And y'all have an awesome, awesome night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. And